everyone. My name is Tawnya Love, and welcome to the Tawnya Love Show. I hope everyone is doing awesome today, and hope that last week you all had a lot of fun with our little awareness exercise, and that you're seeing really positive results from really staying mindful of your own frequency and vibration. So, today, if you're joining us, I would love to hear from some of you, especially those that wrote in last time with questions. Feel free to write questions into Amnon, my little behind the scenes angel back there, and let him know how things are going and what you noticed, as well as if you want to share any information or feedback for today's topic, which we're going to be talking about synchronicity and serendipity or destiny. And what does that mean? And for many, this seems like a fairy tale, like, oh, serendipity or synchronicity, that's just destiny. It's all fairy tale, magical hula, but it really can become a part of our day-to-day life. And I truly experience synchronicity and beautiful, miraculous moments every day. And you can start to train yourself to really be aware and awakened to those moments as they arrive and to really pay attention to them because it's the language of the universe. And for many of us, when we're wondering, like, what is synchronicity and what does that mean? It's like this divinely timed moment where you were just putting out a question to the universe or you were asking for something, you made a request of some kind, and suddenly there's signs showing up. Like you'll notice things, you may see numbers, or you may see an animal spirit arrive, or a person just comes up and tells you to watch a movie out of the blue or to read a certain book. And then you go and you tune into that information and check it out, and it's holding an answer or a solution to the question that you had. So paying attention is key. And I really encourage when I work with clients through soul coaching or my auric clearing clients, my yoga students, I always encourage them to get a special journal that you can log all these little synchronicities in, because for me, whenever I'm getting little nuggets of information, it's just like that. It's like the universe throws you a puzzle piece, and one puzzle piece maybe doesn't make a lot of sense. But as we collect the pieces throughout our day and then we journal them, at the end of the day, we can often start to create a picture for all those puzzle pieces, and it starts to take on a deeper meaning, and a deeper understanding will start to unfold within us. So I encourage you to really pay attention to these synchronistic moments and not just discount them as, like random magical miracles that happen occasionally, but to start really realizing that this is how the universe communicates with us, and it happens all the time. The universe is constantly in dialogue with us. It's just many of us are not paying attention. We're not really listening, and we're not really paying attention when the information is given. We're not taking it serious enough to actually pay attention to it and acknowledge it. So today we're going to talk about that. And I actually had drawn a couple cards to read to you today, and I was going to read them at the end, but I'm going to read them now because it's a synchronistic moment that happened right now. So before I tuned in to do the show, I always meditate and I tune in to my angels and I call them in and thank them for speaking through me and for just helping me to channel whatever the information is that everyone's ready for at this time. And while I was laying down upstairs and I was meditating, Archangel Ariel came to me and she was illuminating my body and she was just, helping me out, raising my vibration. And she said that she would like to help assist in channeling today. So I welcomed her in. Well, then I came downstairs and I shuffled my cards in my Divine Guidance cards, which I'll show you what they look like because they're very cool. You can see those. They're by Cheryl Lee Harnish. And I drew two cards, and the first card is Angelic Being. And it says, your angelic being has been with you since the day of your birth and will continue to be with you when you cross through the veil and return home. Your angelic guardian is asking you to look for signs and synchronicities. They are trying to communicate with you now. In a whisper of gentle guidance, you may hear your name being called, or feel the subtle touch of a feather or a tender tickle. You may see a sign on a billboard, a magazine, or even on TV. Keep your awareness open to the messages that they are bringing you at this time. So that's pretty amazing. And so this is what that card looks like. It's angelic being, and it's all about synchronicity. So spot on confirmation. Well, I was talking to Archangel Ariel in meditation, and the other card I drew is the Lion Guide. And as many of you know, Archangel Ariel is often referred to as the Lioness of God. And so this is more confirmation from her to let us know that she is assisting us today. So, Lion Guide, it says, is here to help us to awaken the sleeping lion that lies within you. Your inner lion is powerful, resourceful, and mighty. You really do hold the strength and courage to do whatever needs to be done. It is time to let the world hear your roar. So right now, if you're listening, rah, like let it out. Let your roar come out. It's really important that we learn to speak and express and to let whatever's on our hearts come out into the world. And that is Lion Guide inside of you. It's kind of when we get upset about something, we're like, enough. That is Lion Guide coming out. Or, as I would love to acknowledge, Archangel Ariel, and I encourage you to call to Archangel Ariel and ask her to assist you. I have recommended so many clients work with her, and every single one of them that's listened comes back telling me, Tawnya, it was amazing. I had this conversation with my son, and it's always tense, and it went amazing. And, okay, I went and I talked to my ex husband, and it went so smoothly. So when we call in Archangel Ariel to speak through us, we really will get out of our own way, and we won't have that limitation of ego. We'll clear that and allow an angelic being to actually help speak through us with more awareness and more love and compassion. So, welcome, Archangel Ariel. Lion Guide is here to help you realize that you do rule your inner and outer worlds and to energetically claim your throne as the rightful ruler of your kingdom. Once you do, you will step into your role as a leader with ease. And so, on that note, first of all, let's acknowledge Archangel Ariel's here, and we love her. She's an amazing angel, and she's very much like Xena Warrior Princess, what I get from her energetically. She's very powerful, very to the point, speaks truth, doesn't mess around, doesn't, at all dance around subjects, goes right to the point, but is very powerful and compassionate at the same time. And so I love working with Archangel Ariel. And since we're talking about synchronicity, I want to share a few stories of things that have happened in my life that brought me to even being on an internet show to even reach all of you. And Archangel Ariel has been a huge part of that shift for me and a huge part of my journey. So it makes sense that she would be the angel showing up today and wanting to be a part of this show because she has been one of my well, I'd say my right hand girls, but she's always to the left for some reason when I'm doing a clearing. Michael and then Ariel. But Archangel Ariel came to me in 2012 when I was leaving my marriage of 20 years. I remember a time where I was really just like, oh, is this the time? And I was working and processing a lot of things to make that choice to leave. And my angels had been calling me to step into my power and to lead my tribe and to claim my throne, just like that card says. And I was called to lead an angel gathering at a spiritual bookstore. And so I went there and approached them. They were really open to it and eager for me to come and speak. I was kind of freaked out because I had never spoken publicly about angels before, and I really didn't know what was going to happen or what was going on. I just knew I was listening and going to tell them I was meant to speak about the angels. So before I knew it was Ariel, there was a lot of things, and I think I've shared this on a show before, but since we're talking about synchronicity, I'll talk about it a little again. But there was a day where I was working out at the gym, and I had been awoken by angels for like weeks before, waking up. And I was asking, who is it that's with me? Like, who is this angel that keeps speaking to me? And all that day I got signs. And that's why I encourage you to write in your journals because that time I was writing all this down and it started to make a picture and make sense by the end of the day. So that morning I was at the gym and I was working out and I was just like in my zone, sweating and working out. And I open my eyes and I see this elderly woman walk by. And she had like a hologram of a lion around her face. Like when I see a spirit or when I see an angel during a healing, I often it's like an ether. It's not a solid image, but it's like an ethereal image. And I saw this like hologram of a lion, and I was like, whoa, what was that? And I was looking around and I could see the auras of all the people in the gym. And this just suddenly happened. It wasn't something I had happen all the time. So on my drive home, I was just like, wow, that was amazing. And I'm driving home and I noticed that, I'm listening to a song on my Pandora station, and it was Part of Your World with the Little Mer from the Mer I cannot talk today. Part of Your World from the movie The Little Mermaid. And I'm just singing that song, and later I realized, what was the name of the Little Mermaid? It was Ariel. And so I was just like noticing that moment. And there was all these little things happening throughout the day. And so at the end of the day, I had all this written in my journal, and I'm meditating and I'm just like, who's with me? And suddenly I just felt inspired to get up and Google and research Archangel Ariel. And so I did. I got up and I'm reading about her. And this was on a Friday. And what I pulled up was the information was Archangel Ariel is often connected with Friday. And I don't really know what that means because I connect with her all the time. But this did happen to me on a Friday. And she is often referred to as the Lioness of God and appears to many in the form of a lion. And then I was thinking about the name of the actress in the song was Ariel. So all these little things started to create a picture to answer my question. And so I realized I had been communicating with Archangel Ariel, and once I figured it out, it was really kind of fun because how playfully she brought me the little pieces of the puzzle. And really, if I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't gathering them, I could have missed it and not known who I was talking to. So the reason I say this is that I often work with clients, and they're like, Tanya, what angels are working with me? How can I know which angels are here, or if I'm working with a spirit guide? And a lot of this is going to come from your inner knowing. You've got to learn to start trusting your gut, all of you. Your intuition is really magical. And if we start to tune in and trust our intuition, life becomes very magical and very synchronistic. But if we're not honoring that part of ourselves and we're still very much five sensory, we're in our brain and everything needs to make sense and be logical, then we will often miss a lot of these little synchronistic moments, and we will miss the connections and the solutions that are being given to us in really playful ways. So, first thing to acknowledge is how six sensory are you and how five sensory are you? And it's not anything to judge in yourself, it's just to be aware. So if you tend to be very logical minded, very black and white, that's okay to acknowledge that, but it is going to benefit you to start crossing that bridge. I sense with clients, I'll say we're like five sensory world, cross the bridge to six sensory world. And so there's a process to crossing over, but be mindful that you acknowledge where you are and that you're willing to go there. You're willing to go into the unknown so that you can really start to enjoy a more playful, spontaneous life experience. Because that's really what we're all here to enjoy. And the universe is speaking to everyone. The universe channels through me every day, and I am a successful healer. I am very intuitive, very tuned into my clients and help them, and it is amazing. It's an amazing life. I am grateful beyond words and honored beyond words every time I get to assist. But this doesn't just happen for someone like me, it's available for all of us. And years ago, before I had acknowledged this gift in myself and before I really listened to my angels and really honored them, I was having synchronistic experiences happening all the time. I just wasn't really acknowledging them and I wasn't honoring them. So magical moments would come. I remember years ago, I was in San Francisco one day, and I had just had tension with my husband at the time. It was just tense day, and I was just kind of inside of myself. And even though I was in the car with other people, I was very introverted, and I was just talking to the universe, talking to my angels, and just saying, you know, is it would it be best if I just left this relationship? Like, bring me a sign. And as soon as I had asked that, I noticed a cab pull by, and it had license plates 555. Later that afternoon, we're walking by, and there was like five cookie, or it was like five something. I can't remember if it was donuts or cookies or something for 5.55. And then we were driving in our cab, and the cab driver, I looked up, and the fare was 5.55. And I was just like, "What is happening?" It was the craziest day, but it got my attention. Now, years ago, it got my attention, but I didn't inquire deeper. I just kind of was like, "That was really weird," and then I let it go. And even though I felt something was connected to that question about my marriage, I didn't really know what it meant and I didn't know how to tune in deeper. And so I just kind of discounted it. And so many of us do that. We'll have number sequences come, or we'll have animal totems come in. We'll have someone refer us to read a book. And then we'll be down the street and another person 2 days later is like, yeah, you should read this book. And you're like, whoa, someone else just told me that. Right there is an amazing time to really listen, because there is an answer waiting for you in that book. I guarantee it. There is something waiting to unfold within you because of those number sequences that keep coming in. So it's really about not only asking for the signs, because we're all good at that. We're good at asking. We're not so good at listening. Like many of us really need to get better at listening. We'll ask the question and then we're jabbering on about the next question, or we're jabbering on about the problem, and we're not quiet and still long enough to really find that solution or that direction. So, synchronicity is an amazing gift to you, and it comes to all of us. Right now, there are synchronistic experiences coming to each one of you watching. The question will be not are they coming, but are you noticing them, and will you pay attention to them? Will you actually acknowledge, write them down, and then have dialogue with spirit again and ask for that confirmation? So when I talked about the 555 thing, now I've tuned in and I understand the numerology and the angel numbers. That makes so much sense today, but back then I didn't understand that. I wasn't aware of that yet. So I have a lot of compassion with clients that are still very five sensory and in a different consciousness. Like truly, their consciousness that they are experiencing is much more limited because they're still so limited and so structured in their egoic or logical side of their brain, instead of opening up to the fullness of their minds, which brings them into a unity consciousness, and that opens up the doors for miracles and greater understanding. So, for us, if we're a healer or a spiritual speaker and we're channeling, it's really important that we're looking out of eyes of that awareness and that oneness, that compassion, and never with judgment, because even though other humans may not understand what we're saying or where we are today, that's just because that's where they are in their consciousness. So it's really important that we're compassionate, but also speak truth to encourage them to open the doors to higher awareness. So I'm going to pause for a second and see if there are any questions or anybody having dialogue. Anything going on over there, Amnon?
Nope. Keep going.
Okay. Okay, so back to synchronicity. So that same day that I saw the 555s, I was going to the beach with my family, and the traffic was terrible. We were in California, and so we just pulled off. My husband at the time just said, I'm just getting off here, forget this. So we're at this beach. I'm trying to remember the name. I think it was like El Capitan. We're at some beach, and we get out and we're in the water playing around, and right, like I had in my mind been asking for a huge sign, and I was just like, angels, bring me a sign that I can't possibly miss the meaning of it, a sign that there's no way that I won't understand what you're trying to say. And so I had asked this, and we get out of the car and we go to get into the ocean, and my husband walks into the ocean, and I am not kidding you, like a minute after he got into the ocean, he yells, he's like, oh shit. And I was like, what? And he's like, the ocean just took my wedding ring. And I was just like, what? And so at that time, I got my answer. That sign of the ocean pulling his wedding ring off, and that's pretty big deal. But I was still freaked out, and I didn't really want to know that answer. That's what I want to address with synchronicity. We'll put out a question or a request for guidance, and what keeps us stuck is not the fact that the universe doesn't answer. The universe is always answering us. It's just, are we ready to hear the wisdom? Are we ready to hear the messages? There's times that I will work with a client and I can just feel they're not ready. They are not ready to acknowledge the great shifts that are actually being um, encouraged from them. And so it's not a bad thing. It's just they're not ready. It's just the timing. But when we really tune in and we listen and we don't resist because of fear, the universe is totally trying to open up doors of opportunity for us. It's trying to expand and open our opportunities and open up, energy spaces for us to thrive. But if we're too consumed with fear, we will often ignore those signs and will stay, which in my case I did. I was married another 10 years after that. And that's okay. That was what process I needed before I had the courage to really leave something that I knew the whole time was off. But I'm just wanting to bring experiences of synchronicity so that you can all tune in and kind of understand how that works. So if any of you have any questions about that, please write in or call. Um, let's see some other. So another fun one that I have to share with you with the show. Um, I was coming home one day and I had just recently had a woman that was a friend on Facebook that did some spiritual healing, and she was doing a show. And so I came home and I just opened up my computer, and my fiance was getting ready to make dinner. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, this show's starting in 5 minutes. And I just got this gut feeling I should be on that show. And so I told my fiance, hey, baby, do you mind if I get on this show? I just really have this strong feeling I'm supposed to. And he's like, go for it. I'll just make dinner. So I was like, awesome. I get on the show and I'm having this live discussion. This was through Julie Seibert. She had a show, Reawaken Your Brilliance. Is that right, Amnon? Is that the name
That
of her
is
show?
correct.
Okay, I want to make sure I say it right. So she has a show called Reawaken Your Brilliance right on here on Nissan Communications, and so I'm observing the show, and she was asking this woman a lot of questions, and it seemed like the woman was kind of like trying to find a way to answer. And so I was like, whoa, I understand that. So I was typing in, and Julie and I are having this back and forth discussion the whole show. And at the end, we chatted and decided to have a Skype meeting just to talk. And so she Skyped me a couple days later, and we're just visiting. And she's like, Tanya, I would really love to interview you about this angel healing that you do, this auric clearing work. Would you be open to an interview? I was like, absolutely. So before I met Julie, I had been meditating and I was told by my angels that there was something being prepared for me and that it was going to help me reach more people. And I was like, awesome, sounds good to me. And I have had in my heart for my whole life, I've always loved Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres, and I've had this deep passion that I knew I was one of them. Like I could totally be that in my own way. And so I wanted so much to have my own show and to be able to have an opportunity to reach people that are open to awareness and living with alignment and all these things that are really important that Spirit tells me they're here to support me in reaching people. So this was my passion. This was my um, the energy that I was sending out to the universe. These were my rockets of desires that I was sending out. And then I had this gut feeling to watch this show. Well, that leads to Julie interviewing me, and that was really fun. She just asked me a bunch of questions about, what I do as a healer. And at the end, we were chit-chatting, and Amnon was like, Tanya, you're a natural. Have you ever thought of having your own show? And I just started laughing like, yes, I have totally thought about that. And so then Amnon and I chatted, and that's how I ended up having this moment in time with you, is because of that synchronicity. So a lot of times something we really want, like I really wanted to reach more people. I wanted to connect with each of you, and I had that desire. I was asking the universe for direction and how it was going to happen, and it was all very magical and synchronistic. So I say that because some people think, oh, it's all, it's about who you know, and you have to be born in LA, and you have to know certain people, and you got to go to get a certain degree in, journalism or whatever. And really, that can be fun if that's the journey you have a gut feeling to go on, go that way. But most of the things we want are so easy to access, and it all comes from our being in that vibration and that frequency of having them and maintaining that frequency until they arrive. So I didn't get upset when I was like wishing I had a show for all these years and I didn't have one. I just kept feeling like someday I'm open to that and I'm so excited. And if that opportunity ever comes, I'm going to say yes. And then I had little synchronistic things that led me to the very moment of it arriving and saying, Tanya, do you want this? And I said, yes, I do. And then I just showed up. And really, it's been pretty fun and magical ever since. So, this is really the way synchronicity works, and it's very playful. And I feel that a lot of us have this feeling. I think I was talking about this last week. Like, we just have this feeling that we have to really work hard for everything. We have to suffer to get there. And our culture celebrates that. We really celebrate this, it's got to be hard, it's got to be, strenuous and difficult, and then it's worth it. And really, that is a choice. We all can choose that path, but there's also another path available, and it's the path of ease. And it's the path where everything flows and synchronicities and, serendipitous moments await you. And this is the path I feel of our true aligned destiny, is that when we are flowing and we are arriving and we're showing up for life, life is showing up for us and we show up as well. When life says, would you like this? And it feels amazing, we say yes. We don't say, oh no, I don't think I'm ready. I used to be that girl. I used to have things I wanted so much, and they'd come, and then I would say no and push them away because some part of me felt unworthy. I wasn't quite good enough yet. I don't, why would anyone listen to me talk? Why would anybody care about what I have to say? And I used to feel like that because I was still insecure and had a lot of stuff to clear. And so some of you watching, maybe you feel like that. There's a dream you have, but you're still kind of stuck in, why would I be worthy of that? Or I don't know if I could ever accomplish that. Like, I don't have all these degrees. Really be gentle with yourself and realize that that is not what you need. If the universe gives you a platform and brings you a gift, say yes to it and push it away. I love that. Thank you. Perfect timing, Amnon. And so it's going to be so much more rewarding in your life if you start to show up and really pay attention to the synchronistic moments. So, Amnon, let's see. If there's no questions, how about you? Do you have any kind of synchronistic moments that
I
you can
was,
think of?
yes, I do, but I was
I
going to
could
say,
feel you
I,
wanting to say something.
I was going to say, this is why you were so sure. I mean, I was flattened by the way that when I asked Tawnya about the show, and she said, yes. And it was like, what else? Of course, yes.
Of course I will. Are you kidding?
Um, mine. I always like. I'm into getting and restoring and driving military vehicles, old,
Okay.
and you see something really. I mean, it was easy to buy a big truck, but then I really wanted. I saw a picture of a British ferret, which is like a small tank,
Okay.
and they were expensive. And I said, I wish one of these days I had one, and one of these days I will have one.
Yes.
And as it turned out, somebody local, actually, I didn't have to go far, had one, and they couldn't. They had two of them, and the wife said, "You can keep one." And I got it for a really good deal. And here it is in my own garage. And I said, wow.
You're like, I
I
manifested
always
that.
wanted one of these things, and I always felt like I will have, and sure enough. And then I wanted a Jeep, and it's hard to find, and I did find one. So
Yes.
it's sort of like you tell yourself that you are going to get something, and you keep on telling yourself, one of these days it'll happen. Just
Yes.
wait when the time is right, just like he's saying, and it does happen. And then
Yes.
you stop and you think, yeah, all these times I was thinking about it, and you at the time, you see, you are into this 24/7.
Hmm.
I wasn't thinking about anything that is happening up above.
Yeah.
I wanted one, I said, yep, I will get it. Then when it does happen, you say, oh, so that's somebody was helping me to get this, because this was just too good to be true to happen this way.
So now you're
So
like,
yeah,
thank you, angels.
yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, and it happens for all of us. And like I said, some that are really tuned in realize it's always happening and they're more paying attention with everything. And it's not like a strenuous paying attention, it's just paying attention. You're just very present. But then there's some that don't acknowledge it and they'll miss a lot of opportunities.
right.
And it's really, I feel like synchronicity is just, it's fun and it's so playful. And everything that we really want and desire, we deserve it. And there's some part of us that has that desire, like you having that desire for that Jeep. it's in you, and it's because it's something that will mean something to you emotionally. And so you having that emotional frequency of I'm going to have that someday, that is a powerful energy that you are sending out to the universe, and the universe is conspiring in your favor to bring it to you. And if you keep it in that vibration of someday it's coming to me, I just know it, that is an amazing place to stay and not put any pressure on yourself or the universe of a timing or of how it has to arrive, but just keep the frequency of it's mine. I already know it. It's coming. And
Yeah.
not really worry about how it comes.
And
And
you
it's
know,
fun, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us, I would say the majority of us, don't realize that when we find our other half, that it is because something was directed that way
Yes.
from somewhere, and it just took time until I met Kathy, and it's sort of like right away. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
that this is it, kind of.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about how my beloved was brought in. So tell me if you'd like to share with us like how you and Kathy were brought, and what do you mean by you could tell something brought you together?
It was just I can't explain it, but I mean, I came to the States and I was in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and I came here to visit. And one of the times that I visited, I had a friend here. I met Kathy, and I mean, here it is,
And it was just
30,
like that
30.
was the divine
That
time.
was 75.
Nice.
And here we are today, and it's so every day that keeps going, yep, that was it. That definitely, you may not, and you don't think about it at the moment when it's happening, but you realize it later on that,
Like, whoa, what was going on there?
yep.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And is Kathy still just so blissfully happy to have met her guy?
I think
Is
so.
she there?
No, she's in the living
Okay.
room,
I'm sure she is.
but
That's
she's
this is
listening.
awesome. Well, yeah, and I feel like, when we're paying attention, it's funny because yesterday I knew Spirit was bringing this show to be discussed about synchronicity and the fun and the magic of the universe. And I went downstairs and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that movie, Serendipity. There's a fun movie called Serendipity. If you've never seen it, I encourage you to watch it. And so I'm watching it, and it just really, I used to watch it when I was not in a happy relationship, and I would watch it like, oh, that would be amazing. And it's kind of sad to say, but I did. And I
Hmm.
was just like watching it in like a longing for that kind of true connection and wishing and wondering, could that be possible for me still? Because, is it over for me? I don't know. And you kind of wonder when you're in stuff and it doesn't really feel good. And so that movie is a great one I recommend called Serendipity. And then what's another one that's really great? August Rush is another great movie where if you really watch that child's life, he's listening to the universe always. And it's such an inspiring film. And it's just like the line in the movie is the universe is always talking. Are you listening? And it really comes down to that. And I really encourage you to watch those two movies if you kind of want some fun visuals of what synchronicity is all about. But one thing in Serendipity that I loved is it said there was a line that said you must be okay with allowing yourself to look foolish in order to truly live a free life, like to live a synchronistic life. We have to be okay with appearing foolish to others. And I could not agree more with that because there's been so many that have at times judged me when I followed my own heart and judged when I've gone in a direction that paid off in a huge way that was really for my highest good. And we have to be okay with that. We have to be okay with being that weirdo lady talking about angels in a network group where everyone's just looking at you blankly because they don't know what the crap to say. And it's like, that's okay. They're just not ready yet, but you were still called there to speak. So I've had a lot of things happen where synchronistic, guidance to go and speak on things, but I've been taught not to be too concerned about what everyone thinks about me and just give them time and give them the space to make their choices and to pay attention. Because a lot of times we might come into contact with someone of a high vibration that's bringing a lot of wisdom, but we don't know what to do with it yet. It's a little overwhelming. That's a lot of information, And so we got to give them time to process it. But I love that movie and how there was so many times where they have to really listen to their hearts and have courage and go in directions that look scary and like maybe they don't get anything because of that choice. And often that's when the best things will come to you is when you really trust your heart and you really just know that no matter what, I'm going to keep trusting my heart and whatever's for the best for me, it's coming. And so I'll share an example with the way I met Ron. First of all, Ron and I knew each other for years. We were both artists, and we met in like 2005 or 6, somewhere in there, when I first moved to the Northwest. And speaking of that, I'm going to show you. We are doing an art show. I don't know if you can see this very good, but it's a
Yeah.
picture of Ron and I.
Hmm.
We're doing an art show coming up on July 12th and 13th. It's for local people, but in case any locals are watching, it's going to be at English Estates Winery, and it's on July 12th, which is a Saturday, 11 to 7, and the 13th from 12 to 6. And what we put on our card, we both make a lot of art, but we took some of our art and we put it into prints and then framed them. And I put rhinestones, like little Swarovski crystals, and we make clocks. And so I thought I was one day just like this idea came to me, and it's about time because they're clocks, but it really summarizes Ron and I. Like we're together, we're having this art show together. We're starting to actually sell our art. We were with partners before, and our art did not seem to sell. And we were like, what's going on? And so we call it It's About Time. And what's fun with how I met Ron is we had met years ago in an art gallery, and we were just acquaintances. He was married, I was married, but we knew of each other, and we had been in meetings together at the art gallery and whatnot. And I was there for a little while, and then I left that gallery for reasons. And then a few years later, I run into Ron downtown Vancouver. He's doing this Art in the Heart, and I run into him. I'm with my husband at the time, and we're like, "Hey, what's up?" And we're just chatting. And he encourages me to come back to the gallery because they started a new gallery. And so I was like, let me think about that. And so I decided to go back and give it another shot. And so him and I were connecting again, but as acquaintances. And in December of 2012, I left my marriage, and I remember so many signs. I mean, I'm writing a book actually about all of it, so I'll bring that. And if you all want to know that story, you can buy a book. But basically, when I made the decision to leave my marriage, and this was a very long process, like I did not make this decision lightly, and I've been asking for years, and I finally made the decision to leave. And I looked at the clock, and it was 11:11, right at that moment that I had decided it was time to go. And if you look up the angel number, if you want to learn more about angel numbers, go to your computer and Google spiritual meaning of 1111 or 555 or whatever number, and then read the Joanne Sacred Scribes website. It's just of a very high frequency. I really feel that the vibration of that site is more in alignment than some. And basically, I saw 1111, and it's all representative of independence and liberation and following your soul mission. And I was just like, oh my God, like that is perfect. And so it really helped me seeing that number right then, even though it was a little scary because this was going to be a big process, and I knew it in my gut. I knew I was preparing for a battle. I didn't want to, but you just kind of know it. And so I see that number, and it just gave me that guidance and assurance from my angels that I was making the right choice and that I wasn't alone and that they were going to be with me and that everything was going to work out for my highest good for listening. So that happened. And then Ron, I found this out later. His wife left him in January that of 2013, and so he and I reconnected in March, where I was doing an art show. I was doing the front window display, and so I was there for several hours decorating this window display for an art show. And he was just asking me things about how I was doing after leaving my marriage, and told me that his wife had left him. And so we're just connecting, and kind of I'm using that healer part of myself to help him and counsel, just offer him counseling and support and compassion. And then I was dating some guy at the time. I had dated a couple guys after my marriage. And so what happened was I had dated a couple guys, and they all kind of reminded, well, not all of them, a few of them reminded me of my ex-husband energetically. the controlling aspect, the degrading aspect, not really supportive of my angelic and spiritual part of myself, and kind of shaming that and telling me that they thought it was weird and I shouldn't be talking about it. And so there was some tests to see, will Tawnya tolerate this again, or is she going to really see this energy and clear it completely? So one morning I was driving home and I had just realized that this was the last day I would be seeing this guy that I'd been seeing, and that this wasn't going to work out. And I kind of knew, and I had told him that I was there to help him heal things from his past relationship. And he very bluntly said, I don't need a healer for a girlfriend. And so I was like, okay. And so pretty much I knew the universe would be sending me back into orbit very soon. And so as I was driving home that morning, I wasn't really angry, but I was just talking out loud to my angels in the car. And I was just like, I am done with these guys that are attracted to me, and they like my magic and they like my power when they're first seeing me, but then they want to slowly start chiseling away at it and start causing me to doubt myself, or they want to slowly start controlling me. Done. Like, that is not going down anymore. I'd rather be alone than be with someone like that. So I'm saying this very loud in my car, and the whole universe was getting this message from Tawnya. And so after I said what I was done with and I was ready to clear, I out loud said, thank you, universe. Thank you, angels, for bringing me the one. I am ready for my twin flame. I am ready for the one who is here to support my soul mission, the one who's here who will love me and honor me for the unique being that I am and will not have a problem with that. And so I'm being very clear in all this. Well, I get home and I'm setting up for an event that night where I'm teaching at the gallery a workshop on the laws of attraction. And so I get there and I'm teaching my workshop, and Ron's there. He comes in and he was sent to close the gallery. So he's watching and listening to my presentation. And afterwards, he came up to me. He was just like, wow, that was amazing. And he's like, are you hungry? I'm going to go get something to eat. Would you like to come with? So I just think this is casual, like friend thing. And I was like, sure. And so I go with him. And this happened right when that night I could have gone on a date with my ex husband. He was still trying to get back with me. And I remember just thinking, I'm done with that direction. And I'm going to go in this direction. And not even like a dating thing, but just a choice of where I was going to spend my time. So I go on this, little dinner thing. And during it, very quickly, I start seeing how Ron's behaving. And I realize, oh, this is a date. Like, just the way he's acting, I can tell. And so I was just kind of watching him, like, that's very curious. Like, Ron Jones, huh? Like, let's see where this goes. And he comes over and we're talking, and he's just opening up his life story to me. And I'm listening to him. And then he says something to me. He looks at me. He's like, Tawnya, I feel like tonight, as I was watching you speak to every one of those people, and you were connecting so deeply with each one of them, I just feel like I saw you for the first time. And I was just like, what? Like, there was so many things that happened. Him and I coming together. We started dating pretty quickly after I had helped him with some art shows, and then we started dating. There was so many synchronistic events that happened, like where we went to look at some woman's art and they chanted and played music. And I was just like, oh, do you want to play for us? And he normally would just go look at people's art and then leave. Well, because I was there, I was really tuning into them. And they ended up doing this live concert for us, serving us tea. And as we're sitting on the floor, I just felt, and so did he, like the universe was giving us this concert and was like bringing our energies together. And so synchronistic moments can be so amazing and magical. And the more we pay attention, this is the difference between we stubbornly go this direction to be with a certain person we want to date, no matter what it's showing us, no matter how much it's kicking our butt energetically, or we surrender and we trust and we feel the heart's guidance and we pay attention to the magical connection with this energy and this direction. And so it can be so amazing. And now I'm with my beloved. We've been together over a year and we're the best of friends. But we laugh sometimes. We just think about, wow, like there was times I remember I went to hang some art and he was there with his wife at the time. And I was there with my husband. We walked in and we're hanging art. And he kept talking about how, isn't it awesome to be married? Don't you think it's so awesome to be married? And he kept talking about it. And I I'm very empathic, so I was tuning into him and I was just like, I didn't say anything, but I was like, what is he trying to convince himself of? Like, something's really off there, and why is he talking to me? Like, he kept looking at me and telling it to me. And so I left, and I remember telling my husband at the time, like, wasn't that kind of odd that he kept talking about how great it was to be married? Like, it was like he was trying to convince himself, like, he's really sad and he's not really authentically happy. And my ex-husband was like, I don't know, I didn't pay attention, which is true. And so we get out of there, and I don't think of it that deeply that day, but now that I'm with Ron and I look back, I realize, oh my God, like, you were talking to my soul and I could feel him talking to it. I just didn't understand why he was. And there was like some part of me that felt a connection but didn't know what I was supposed to do about it. And because it wasn't the right timing. So if you watch the movie Serendipity, it'll make sense. It's all about divine timing and really following those little breadcrumbs along the path until we reach our destination. And really, that's about what I love to call angel time. The universal time is really, we're trusting and we're flowing and we're allowing. But when we're an ego mind, we think we control it all. It's our time. This is when it's going to happen. And if I don't get this internet show now, I'm going to just be miserable and I'm going to be angry, or I'm going to go make that show happen. And a lot of humans spend their lives like this, really making things happen, trying to force the timing, force it to go down. There was years that I was an actress and I was working so hard to try to make it as an actress, and like I wanted to say something. I had made movies for the film festival and I was working so hard to just get out there, but I didn't have that confidence or really know that I was worthy. So a lot of people weren't even paying me for the work I was doing. And recently I'm being approached by directors from my past. They're like, Tawnya, I would like to do another movie with you. Are you interested? And I was like, what? And so you just got to let go and trust that when the timing's right, it's all going to flow. And if there's something that your soul's here to create and to be a part of, you're going to know it. You're going to feel it in your energy. You're going to feel that passion inside. And you just need to trust the flow. You need to trust the difference in the vibration of what it feels like to go against the stream, where you're just suffering, you're beating your head against the wall, and what it feels like to go with the flow. And that feels it's ease, it's grace, it feels good. So remember how last week I was talking about vibration? I cannot say that enough to each of you. Your vibration and your frequency is the magical ingredient to everything. Amnon manifesting that Jeep and the love of his life, it came from a vibrational alignment. He maybe didn't know that at the time. Maybe that logical, that part of the words weren't there, but part of him knew that's going to be mine one day. And he just held that focus, and he didn't get angry when it wasn't his. He's just like, that's going to be mine one day. And maybe some part of him was even like, that's going to be mine one day, and it's going to come to me at a great price. And then boom, it did, right, Amnon?
Right. Exactly.
See? Yes. And so it's really having that patience. And until you get what you want, you stay in a frequency of gratitude. You stay in a frequency of having. So instead of, I don't have that job yet, so I'm going to be pissed off at the job I'm at, or I don't have that relationship yet, so I'm going to be pissed off with the person I'm with. The best way you can get out of any energy or situation is to have gratitude for what you have, and then be open to the universal flow guiding you to where you really want to go next. And there's no need for resistance. There's no need for suffering and violence and anger. No need. But many of us think that. We think if we're going to have to leave something, we got to have a really good reason for it, or we got to go and create a bunch of tension before we have permission to free ourselves from something. And that's not true. And as we really honor the flow of life, we're going to thrive. Like my life, I'm thriving so much since I really understood. Like I teach workshops on manifestation, and like I have one coming up actually soon. And these workshops, they used to be like there was nuggets I understood and I was really passionate about it, and there was a lot of things that I would do that would work, but it wasn't working consistently and it would frustrate me. I'd be like, okay, so I made a vision board, I'm saying positive affirmations, I'm doing all these things, and sometimes it happens like, woo, what I wanted just showed up. Yay. And then, okay, something didn't show up. Dang it. Why isn't that showing up? I need that to show up. And so I did not get that I was the one creating that disruption. And now I understand it. So now my passion is to help every human on the planet that wants to understand how to manifest to really get that it comes to your vibration and your frequency. If you don't have that dream job yet, don't be angry. Just be grateful for the job you have. Be grateful for the money that's coming in, and just be eager and excited for that job that you desire, and trust that, you know what, someday that's going to be my job. One day I'm going to be making $1 million an episode, and I'm going to be doing amazing work with that money across the planet. Right now, maybe that I'm just getting this like trickling of clients that come in, and right now maybe that, I'm working over at the gym and I'm making this much per hour, but I'm grateful for that. But one day I'm going to be having this experience that's going to shift. So you don't get angry at the fact that you're not there yet. You're grateful for where you are, and you know, like at a cellular level, that you are exactly where you're meant to be right now. Each one of you watching, even if you're in a bad relationship or you're in a job you can't stand, your body is sick, it's not thriving, you are exactly where your soul intended to be. If you can understand that right now, you'll let go of the resistance of that. So much of our resistance comes from trying not to even be now where we are. Like we try to resist the now. It does not serve you. So know that you are exactly where you intended to be, and that you are learning exactly what you need to learn to get you where you are wanting to be. So like a good example is me being on this internet show with Amnon. Amnon and I are both getting practice of what this is like, and we're in the now, and we're spontaneous, and we're learning to work together. And this is the practicing side of, okay, I'd like to have my own show, and it's here. Now, I've been putting out rockets of desire, and I think Amnon has too, of where we would like to go and create a shift. And so the more we hold that frequency and vibration, it's coming, and it's going to be here someday. But right now, we're grateful for what is, and we realize that this is our opportunity to practice. It's just like when I teach yoga to the yoga girls, I teach teacher trainings, and when they first start, they have so much honor towards teachers, because it's one thing to do yoga, and it is another thing to teach yoga. It is another thing to express in words and to guide and lead a room full of people. And they learn that very quickly, and it's very humbling, but it helps them to realize that, today I'm just on this mat and I'm practicing. I'm here and I'm cultivating my strength and my connection with spirit. I'm cultivating greater strength with my body and my mind's focus. And one day I will be preparing myself for a journey to step in to the role of teacher or leader. And that's not something you want to force to happen. You really want to honor where you are, and you want to arrive and trust that it's all fun and play and practice. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Is anybody writing in today? Or are they all just like already on their vacations for the 4th of July?
I guess they are. I have no idea where
Okay.
they are. But the last comment that Kathy put in the chat was say, you betcha. I guess that's
Awesome.
about how she feels.
Awesome.
She's
So
answering.
she's saying you betcha I love being with that man. That's her comment.
I hope so.
Amna's like, please, baby. Okay, so I'm gonna read a page from Getting into the Vortex. I have encouraged every client that I have to get this book. Um, it is the teachings. It's with Esther and Jerry Hicks, and it's the teachings of Abram. I have to say, before I even discovered this, I understood so much of this consciousness, which makes sense because when you're channeling angels and ascended masters, it's higher consciousness. And these books are one of the highest and most aligned books that I have witnessed to this day, written on energy and vibration and helping you with laws of attraction, with manifesting. So, like, I'll teach my kids this stuff. I'll explain to them, when you're angry and you're complaining that you don't have enough hours and you're complaining that you don't like working here or there, it's really not helping you. And I help them to understand their vibration and their frequency is what matters most. Imagine if we taught this stuff in schools, Like, this is really the stuff that we should be aware of from early childhood because children get it. They are amazing at manifesting. They want that red bike for Christmas and they just know it's coming and they have no concept of economy or how much money's in the bank account or any kind of limiting thought at all. And if we remember what we each were like when we were children, when we wanted something for our birthday or for Christmas, we just wanted it and we knew we deserved it and we couldn't wait to get it. And how many of us got what we wanted? Did you, Amnon? Did you ever do that as a kid and then it showed up and you didn't really have a concept of how? You just knew you wanted it?
I'm sure I did. I can't think of any situations that.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah,
that's
yes, I did. Yeah, yeah.
okay. Awesome. So that's what we need to reconnect with again. As adults, we have become not all of us, but many of us have become so disconnected from the true power of our spirit, and we've become so limited because of all the rules we've been taught and all the money doesn't grow on trees and there's not enough to go around and do you know what's going on in our economy? Like we're told all these things of lack and our biggest obstacle as an adult on the planet at this time is to really just ignore all that crap that you're being told about limitation because it really is distracting you from your true alignment and from your true vibration of having and being amazing, powerful creators. And each of us are powerful creators, every one of us. Just some of us are creating lives that suck, and some of us are creating lives that are amazing and magical. And it all is because of a frequency of alignment and you aligning with the vibration of having what you desire instead of resisting. So I'm going to open a page randomly. I love to do it like this and source what do they need to hear, and this is what I'm going to read to you. So if you're listening in, this is the universe speaking to you. So really close your eyes and listen and take a few breaths and just release any resistance, even resistance to being open to new concepts. Be open to let them go. Financial abundance does not occur in one's life because of hard work, good luck, or favoritism. Financial abundance is simply the universe's response to consistent thoughts and feelings of abundance. Having. There are many people who are approaching life from a flawed premise that if they work hard and struggle long and pay a big enough price, they will then be rewarded with financial well being. That's our cultural sickness. It's like you have to suffer and then one day you'll be worthy. And since they do not realize that in their struggle they are denying themselves alignment with the abundance they seek, when the abundance does not come, they attribute it to luck or favoritism that is being directed away from them and towards another. So when you're in lackful consciousness, notice how if someone's succeeding near you, you are jealous. You feel threatened. You feel like, well, when's it my turn? That is an amazing moment for you if you sense that in yourself of you being in lackful consciousness. You see a couple and they're blissfully happy and you want to be in a relationship, if you're in a vibration of alignment, you are excited for that moment. You're like, oh my God, look at their love and their passion. And that is on its way to me. I can't wait until I'm with my beloved. It is so exciting that my beloved will be here soon. That's the best frequency to have, but I observe so many humans miss that and they'll be jealous. Oh, why do they get all, I bet you, why does he get all the pretty women, or I wish I could have somebody, or they see the person that they really feel inspired from that love and they want to go take that person. They think I need that person, then I'll be happy. All of that comes from lack and it creates great suffering and lots of problems. So just catch your frequency and your vibration when you observe others succeeding around you, if others are happy. I see it all the time. It's amazing how I'll be so excited and so grateful and just notice shifts in people that just seem like they're irritated or they're angry at me or they don't want to even acknowledge me when I'm talking because of the threatened feelings they have inside. I know this is nothing about me, but it's so unfortunate of what a missed opportunity for love because we really are here to love each other and support each other. And when I'm mirroring abundance or success, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am mirroring that to each of you. I'm mirroring that potential and that possibility for you to step in and that it's on its way. And when you're succeeding and you're thriving around me, you're mirroring to me. And so I celebrate that. When I see people doing awesome, I'm like, yeah, that is great because they're mirroring to me that abundance. So really catch yourself if you tend to look at things from a lack. It's not necessary, and it really is not helping you to get what you want. Okay, so let's see. There is no luck or favoritism. There is only allowing or resisting, allowing or denying, letting in or keeping out the abundance that you deserve. When you see evidence of shortage and you attribute it to action or intention or power that is outside of you, then your only course of action is to try to win favor from whoever holds the power. So do you see how this sets us up as a society to really kiss butt? And we don't want to do that. We don't want to feel like we have to go
I
and,
started a week ago.
what's that? Oh, I
No,
thought I just heard something.
nothing.
Oh, okay. We don't want to feel like we're, trying to get all in with people just to get something. And it's what happens is when we're doing it that way, we start becoming very manipulative, very what's the word? Deceptive. And all of those energies take us away from the alignment of our authentic self. So you will never thrive there. So really watch that. Let's see. Since this power is not being held by someone outside of you, looking for it there will not bring you positive results. We got to stop looking on the outside, start seeking our inner alignment, our inner vibration. That's where it's all happening. As you gradually train your own thoughts into those of positive expectation, and as you align with thoughts of worthiness and well being, as you align with your true power of seeking good feeling thoughts, you will no longer offer resistance to your own abundance. And when your resistance stops, your abundance will come. When the resistance stops, the Jeep will show up or the loved one. Let's see, where was I at? A flood of good feeling ideas and possibilities will flow to you. Interesting, exciting conversations will surround you. People of influence and means will seek you out and find you. Opportunities and propositions will be plentiful, and soon you will stand in knowing amusement that all of this was always there within your reach. But in your resistant state of attraction, you were not yet able to experience it. But then it came, not because of your struggle, but because of your ease. Isn't that perfect to summarize what we talked about today?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I encourage this book. It's so quick. You just open to a page. There's a CD in the back that you can play in your car to just help you stay in that consciousness of vibrational awareness. Um, so, anyway, on that note, let's practice again all week. The only thing that we need to focus on that's of highest priority is our vibration of ease. So, more and more stepping away from that hamster wheel of doing and go into quiet meditation. Be still and quiet and remember how powerful you are, and feel gratitude for all that you have. Feel gratitude for the body you have, the relationships you have, the money in your bank account that you have, the home environment you live in, your career that you have, and just stay in a frequency of gratitude and excitement and eagerness for all that is on its way to you now. Sound good, everybody?
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, if any of you would like to reach me to schedule soul coaching sessions or a remote Auric clearing, contact me through my website, TawnyaAngel555.com. I would love if each of you would go and take a moment to go to YouTube and follow my YouTube channel under Tawnya Angel, where I will be uploading this video, and I upload all the videos there. And back to any locals, if you want to come to our art show, it's going to be July 12th and 13th at English Estates Winery. And then for anybody that's kind of local, I'm going to be in Ashland in August, offering healing sessions for 3 days at a Prana Fest event. So if any of you are going to Prana Fest and you want to come out and personally meet me, I will be in Ashland, Oregon. I believe it's August 21st through the 24th. It's actually the 22nd to the 24th, but I'll be getting there early. So I'd love to meet you all, and I send you so much love and light, and I can't wait to see how all this is going to unfold. Have a beautiful and blessed day, everyone. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. That vidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.